Stretching and warming up before playing. This topic is a very overlooked and underrated topic, especially among young drummers like myself. After all, when we're in our teens and 20s, we feel invincible. However, drummers of any age can injure an arm or a wrist if they're not careful. Today, we're asking the question of, are stretching and warming up really necessary? And we'll go through some of the steps and processes that I go through in stretching and warming up every time I play. Hey everybody, welcome to The Non-Glamorous Drummer. This is a channel that is all about giving you the non-glamorous tips and topics of the trade to help teach you the drumming skills that really matter to help you become a better drummer. If you're new to the channel, I really hope to earn your subscription. First off, I am not a doctor or a certified trainer. I don't look like a personal trainer. I'm not one, obviously. So if you're experiencing any kind of pain already, you've got some kind of wrist or forearm issue going on, you may want to be careful, consult your doctor first. Don't get into any of these exercises because you may need to let it rest, take it easy, and not play for a while. Use your personal discretion here as we talk about these exercises. There are really just a few specific stretches that I'll do regularly. The first one is just the basic pulling my hand back like this, holding that for a bit, kind of twisting my elbow around the other way, angling it this way to stretch some different muscles. Of course, I'll do the same thing on each hand. And this is one of just the most absolute basic wrist forearm stretches you can do. If you Google good wrist forearm stretches, this is what you'll find regardless of whether we're talking about drums or playing violin or guitar or anything. These are just general good forearm stretches that you can't go wrong with. And then to stretch the other side of the forearm, bend your hand back this way with your other hand, hold that for a bit. I found that this one seems to stretch the muscles that are more likely to get stiff, for me at least. If I start playing too quickly and I do end up feeling stiffness, a lot of times it seems to be the top of my forearm. Now that could just be me personally, I don't know if that's a common thing, but be sure to stretch both of these ways, get both sides of your forearm nice and loose, make sure your wrists are feeling good. You could even do the individual finger stretches. I really like stretching out my thumb too, kind of messing around with that thumb joint, making sure that's well stretched and loose. Doing that really helps me approach grip with the right mindset of making sure that I'm not squeezing too tight, which is very important. Now, if you're a runner or a biker, you do any kind of exercise regularly, you're probably familiar with the concept that you really shouldn't do heavy stretching immediately before you've gotten your blood pumping and gotten things working. And so really that same thing applies to when we're playing drums. I find that stretching is more productive anyways, and you're less likely to pull something or actually hurt something. If you start playing a little bit lightly, maybe some light eighth notes, a light groove or something, just to get the blood flowing, get the muscles working, then gradually begin stretching as you go. However, one of the big reasons why I think stretching is very important is less to avoid injury, though that is very important. We want to avoid injury, but it also helps you build a habit of thinking about how things are feeling. If you're constantly stretching, as you go and in between songs on the gig, you're making sure things are staying loose, that means you're consciously thinking about that. You're making a habit of always thinking about how things are feeling, making sure your shoulders aren't too tight, making sure that you're just playing very relaxed. And so if you have that habit of constantly evaluating that, it's going to help your grip also because you're going to be thinking in terms of looseness and making sure things are feeling great as you're playing. This might be my personal philosophy, but I'm sure other drummers agree. Relaxed looseness from your body is going to translate to relaxed looseness in your hands, which will translate to relaxed smoothness in your playing. Very tough to play smooth when you're tense, you're gripping things too tight, whether you're nervous or you're anxious or something. It's really tough to play a fill around the kit that sounds smooth if you're gripping too tight. You've got to let the sticks bounce and do their own thing. And really that all starts here with our shoulders and our arms and our wrists and everything. If we keep all this loose, then we can more consciously keep our hands loose, which will make our playing smoother. Be sure to continually evaluate the stiffness or the looseness of your wrists, hands, thumbs, shoulders, and everything throughout the gig as you're playing. For me, stretching isn't just a one-time at the beginning of the gig thing. That's something I want to maintain the whole time I'm playing, which also helps to adjust my mindset to thinking about staying loose the whole time I'm playing. Because it is very possible to start out loose, and then the more you play, and maybe the faster you get, and the more sweat you're working up, the stiffer you could actually become. So you have to be careful about that. And I find that stretching regularly just keeps all of that in check and helps reset things to the default. In a way, when you stretch, it kind of helps you reset to like a default looseness. And so whenever you go back to that feeling, it's like, this is how it's supposed to feel. The more often you do that, the more of a habit and really a muscle memory thing that becomes, or that feeling of playing looseness becomes more and more familiar for you. So in my non-physical trainer expert opinion, just from my personal experience, I'd say that yes, stretching and warming up are absolutely necessary. Yeah, you can get by without any kind of stretches or without any kind of warming up on the kit, But that's probably only in a scenario where the gig is paced out in such a way that you're starting off with maybe a slow or a light song. And maybe when you're at home practicing, you could do that as well, start playing lightly. But I still believe that as you go, and as you're beginning to play a little more, you should be stretching as you go. Not making a habit of stretching regularly is a mistake that can begin to catch up to you later on. Always strive to keep your wrists and your forearms loose throughout the gig, and you will thank yourself down the road. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting the channel. Big thanks to my subscribers for watching my videos and for commenting and sharing and all the great things you guys do. And if you haven't yet subscribed, I really hope this video helped you out. I hope the other videos on the channel help you out also as you're working to get better at the drums. So I hope you'll join the channel, join this community of all of us non-glamorous drummers working to get better at what we do. Thanks, guys. I hope you have a great weekend. I will see you next week.